Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Power Charge Bumblebee from the new and upcoming Transformers Bumblebee the movie. As always, we're going to start off with a quick look at the packaging. As you can see from the packaging, we have a really cool image of the figure in his Volkswagen Auto mode, a CG render of Bumblebee, Power Charge Bumblebee, shows some of the features at the top, including that he has 25 phrases. The side of the packaging has yet again another really cool CGI render of the new Bumblebee design for the new movie, and the back of the packaging showcases the product in both the robot mode, the vehicle mode, shows you how many steps he transforms into, as well as the plethora of features that this particular toy has. Turning it around, we have yet again a really cool image of Bumblebee, Power Charge Bumblebee, and a very brief bio at the top about the Power Charge line. The top of the packaging has yet again another image of Bumblebee, this time a slightly different one, showcasing some more of the new CGI detail, and it states it is from Transformers Bumblebee. So let's take a look at the figure himself. And here we have the new Power Charged Bumblebee in his robot mode. Now I must say straight away that as soon as I saw pictures of this, I thought that it looked really good for a gimmick inspired toy. Now obviously this is supposed to appeal to the younger audience, not necessarily to collectors. However, in this case, I believe that this figure could be dedicated to both collectors and to children. Starting off with the detail of the figure, as you can see, he has a really well done looking head sculpt. It looks very reminiscent of the new Bumblebee's head design. As you can see, turning it from left and right, you do have some silver paint applications. You do unfortunately have the battle mask hanging out on the back. However, that is for a gimmick, which I will show you later on in the video. You've got the door wings at the back, which doesn't appear to be accurate to the movie. However, I do believe that this was probably based on a very early concept of Bumblebee. In the center of his chest, you have this blue-like ball. This is for the Power Charge gimmick. The headlights have been picked out in a blue plastic with some ridges in the sculpt in order to make it look more realistic. The arms have got some nice detailing on them as well. You see the forearms, very slick and slender, not as clunky or as detailed as the original Bayverse design. As you can see in the chest, we've got some asymmetrical detailing, which is faithful to the movie. The shins and the legs are all very simplistic in their design as well. They're not as clunky as some of the movie designs. Turning the figure around, as you can see on the back, he is fairly kibble-tastic. You do have the door wings, which are obviously a carryover from the original Bumblebee from 2007. However, unfortunately, these are now not accurate to the movie. His backpack does compress fairly nicely. As you can see, it does sit very flush along his back. Moving down to the legs, as you can see, he does have quite a lot of car parts. However, they've all got a specific place to go, and thus don't look that untidy. I especially like how they've actually managed to put the wheel in the center of the leg, just like that, to make it look like there is some complex to this transformation. Turning to articulation, the figure has got a swivel head. The arms can move forwards and backwards. They probably could do a 360, but due to the wings that are restricted, they can move out to the sides. He has a swivel just above the elbow. He has a 90-degree bend at the elbow. No wrist articulation, unfortunately, nor no waist articulation. The legs can kick forwards that far and can kick backwards that far, however are restricted due to the backpack. They can also spread out to the sides that far. There is a swivel just above the knee joint, which can do a full 360, and the knees are able to bend at 90 degrees. Unfortunately, there is no foot articulation. However, for a gimmick-inspired toy, I think the articulation on this figure is really cool. Now, turning to some of the gimmicks of the figure, I'll start off with the head first, as that is at the top. As you can see here, he does have a battle mask, and in order to equip this, you actually have to pull these two sections out, and the mask will flip. So you just pull them forwards, and the mask flips round, and it's a really detailed looking sculpt. As you can see, you've got the kind of honeycomb effect in the visor, which is really awesome. You've also got the Autobot insignia as well. So the battle mask is definitely really nice and is actually my preferred look for this brand new Bumblebee. Another gimmick that he has is that he does come with what they are labeling it as his Stinger sword. So no longer are the days where he had a Stinger blaster. He now has a Stinger sword. In order to equip this, you simply slide this section all the way forwards, and that is his Stinger sword. I would have liked it if it was perhaps painted or if it was a tad longer. It does look very reminiscent of something from Pacific Rim, but it looks cool enough. Now, turning to the main gimmick of this figure, he does actually have lights and sound effects. Now, in order to equip these in the robot mode, it's actually the same as the vehicle mode, which I'll go into in a bit. You simply have to roll this ball in the chest. Now, on the packaging, it states that it has 25 phrases. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find these 25 phrases. I'm not sure whether they're on some kind of loop or whether you have to spin the ball multiple times in order to get different ones, but I'll just cycle through it and see what we can get. So there is the kind of dancing theme tune, the headlights stay on, and he will make that noise, which we've heard him make throughout many of the movies. So as you can see, he only does say about 5 phrases when in the robot mode. Some very obscure sound effects with a very small clip of some kind of track on the background. Quite lame, to be honest. I do wish that there was some actual phrases from Bumblebee, perhaps from the movie, or perhaps just some made up phrases, as that's what they've done in previous years. Figures such as the Battle Ops Bumblebee or the Ultimate Bumblebee have had phrases that he doesn't perhaps say in the movie, but it does allow him to actually speak. This figure just plays some very small snippets from some obviously made up tracks with some quite bizarre kind of powering up sound. Now, I did think that perhaps if you spun the ball multiple times to essentially power him up, that he would make different noises. However, I've tried to power him up so many times and he just doesn't seem to be doing anything differently than when I turn the wheel once. So I just think that it is rather spontaneous in the way that he says his phrases, or perhaps he is just literally stuck on a cycle of 3 phrases. It doesn't affect his sound effects with the battle mask up or down, which wasn't the case on the Battle Ops Bumblebee. If you had the visor flip forward, he says different sounds, nor if you utilise the sword, he doesn't change his phrases whatsoever. So you literally are just stuck with those 4 phrases that I demonstrated in this video. For a quick size comparison, here is the brand new Power Charge Bumblebee compared next to the Studio Series Leader Class Grimlock. As you can see, it's considerably larger than a now standard leader class, and Grimlock is fairly large for his size class. So as you can see, he's not in scale with any of the other figures. He's just a rather large Bumblebee toy. So overall for the robot mode, despite it looking fairly cool for a gimmick toy, the sound effects are a massive letdown. Now, I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong, but I don't think I have been. I have tried many different ways of spinning the ball, spinning it multiple times, spinning it once, and I've only got the same few sound effects over and over again, and not the 25 as stated on the packaging. I've also checked to see if there is a try me mode, and there isn't. All there is an on and off switch. So I do just think that that is the case with this Bumblebee, that you are stuck on 4 sounds for the robot mode. Now, taking it into the vehicle mode, which I will do in a second, you still don't get that many sounds. So it definitely isn't the 25 sound effects as stated on the box. Now, turning to the transformation, despite this being a child's toy, it is actually quite involved. Firstly, you want to turn the figure around and come to the back and fold out these sections. Here, they just unpeg and fold out like so. You then want to take these wing sections here and just fold them upwards, and they will soft tab along the sides just like that. Do the same on the other side. You then want to turn the figure on its side and lift the back section up. You will get the transformation sound, which is very reminiscent of the 2009 Revenge of the Fallen leaders, and then fold this section all the way out until it snaps into place like that. You then want to turn your attention to the legs. Now, the legs are fairly involved, which is probably evident from the way that the wheels tuck into the middle of the shins. Firstly, you want to untab this section here, just pop it out like that and fold it forwards. Repeat this process on the other side, pop it out and fold it forwards. You then want to take this section here and try and pry it apart just like that until it pulls all the way out. It is tabbed in fairly securely. Repeat the same process on the other side. Fold it all the way out like that. You then are going to want to take the feet, and here there is a hinge. You just want to take the feet and hinge them all the way out like that. Now what you want to do is hinge this section inwards and at the same time hinge this section backwards. This will allow for everything to line up appropriately, just like that. And as you're doing it, you're going to want to take this section with the tail light and hinge it backwards all the way like that, until you get something that looks like this. You then want to come to the underneath, and this hinge here you want to push upwards like that, and that will just line everything up. And there is a small tab there that will just squidge together with this section like so. You're going to want to repeat the exact same process on the other side. So just rotate this backwards, as well as moving the arms out the way. Just hinge this back, just like that. Collapse that in like this, and then hinge this section all the way outwards like that, and then tab it in just like that, and there are your legs completed. Now there are some slots in here, here and here, that will actually tab onto pegs on either side of the feet. You just need to line them up inside until you get both of them tabbed into those slots. You're then going to want to take these two pieces and just tab them together. They will snap into place like that. You are more than likely have probably knocked these sections out, so just realign them with their tabs and keep them down like that. Now that is the entire back section of Bumblebee now transformed. Now we come back to the top section. Now here you're going to want to take the doors and hinge them all the way backwards like this. These sections here you'll just untab and pull all the way down, hinge them all the way backwards. Same thing on the other side, hinge them all the way back, just like that. Fold out the front bumpers. They are made of a rubbery plastic. Just fold them out like that. And then there are some tabs on the inside of his thighs that these slots on the doors will tab into. Just sandwich them together, just like this. And make sure that the tabs on the outside of the doors are locking in correctly until you've got both sections tabbed in so that they are flush with the back section. Come to the arms and just take these and rotate those around like that and fold them inwards. There are then some slots underneath here which these tabs here will just plug into just like so. Make sure they're very firmly put into place, and there are some notches under there that the hollow spots in the arms will just peg into just like that. Repeat the same process on this arm, rotate it inwards, fold it in, and just tab the arm in like so. Now the final step is literally just collapsing this back section here so that it is aligned with everything else. There are some slots on either side of the bonnet section that this will plug into, so just give that a firm push and then line up the back section with everything. Make sure that the bumper is all clipped into the front piece. And there you have Power Charge Bumblebee in his Volkswagen Alt mode. And here we have Bumblebee in his Volkswagen Alt mode. Now it is actually a very faithful representation of how Bumblebee looks in the movie. It is a really nice classic looking Volkswagen. It is a lot stronger of a yellowy colour in person. My camera is picking it out to be quite a strong yellow. It's actually more of an orangey colour in person, with the windows picked out in a dark blue paint. As you can see, the rims are unfortunately unpainted, however they do have the Volkswagen insignia on them, as well as the Volkswagen insignia on the top of the bonnet just there. This is actually an officially licensed product, which is nice, hence why the vehicle mode is so accurate. As you can see on the back, you've got the painted tail light, and he does have the one side mirror, which is actually accurate to the movie. I did go back and watch the trailer, and he does actually only have one side mirror. Now the only thing to really talk about in this mode is his features. Now this figure does not roll smoothly in the vehicle mode. Look, if I just drag it along, it kind of drags along the floor, and that's due to the gimmick. And I think that's such a shame, as it would have been nice to perhaps have had the option to perhaps push this ball section in so that you could roll it around smoothly. Unfortunately, you actually have to utilize this in the vehicle mode. So in order to do that, you simply just put it down and you make some kind of revving noise. As you can see, he made some kind of engine start noise with the Bumblebee kind of groan at the end of it, reversing it backwards. Does give you a very slightly different sound effect. And as you heard there, that was actually kind of a revving up sound effect with some engine sounds over the top of it. So overall, it is fairly limited in terms of phrases, and whilst the gimmick is cool the first few times you do it, after a while it does become quite annoying as you are effectively dragging the bottom of the figure along the floor in order to power it up. So overall, to conclude this review, I think that this figure is a fairly nice entry into the Bumblebee line. Now, it's definitely not for collectors who are into their very complicated kind of Studio Series line, super accurate detail with great articulation. This is more of a gimmick-driven toy, as you notice from the Power Charge title. The robot mode does look nice as a display piece if you can get over the Power Charge piece in the center of the chest. The Volkswagen is a very nice recreation. For what it is, I think that it is definitely one of the greater gimmick toys. The robot mode is fairly detailed. The articulation is pretty good, seeing as this figure does have batteries, lights and sounds. And the transformation, whilst not overly complicated, is still complex enough to keep your attention the first few times you do it. Especially for the price point, I picked this up for $46.99. which is a reasonable price. You know, when the standard leader class goes for around £70, this is larger than leader class, has lights and sounds, and is still a lot less in price. It's also a fairly faithful representation of how Bumblebee looks in his robot mode and vehicle mode from the new and upcoming film. Hope that this review was informative. If it was, please let me know down in the comment section below. If you have any questions regarding this product, feel free to leave them below also. And until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.